The banking executives around the world are working round the clock in order to navigate the biggest changes that are shaping the world, and the year 2025 is no exception. In Africa, the continent's biggest lender, the Standard Bank Group of South Africa, is shifting through the slew of news and noise that dominate the headlines in order to make sense of what lies ahead and to deliver value to stakeholders. Let's take excerpts from the new episode of Standard Bank Talks.
South Africa has chosen the theme of solidarity, equality or equity, and sustainability. And on the sustainability piece, let me just pick up the point Funeka is making about Zambia. So Zambia, with all the challenges, can say to itself and the world, folks, we have access to and we own 70% of the world's copper. We got nickel, we got cobalt, and the world needs that for the batteries, for the solar, for the EVs, and we own it. We've got the mines, and it doesn't matter who's in charge, the world needs it. On the west, you got the Lobito corridor. The United States needs to have access to those resources. On the east, you got Tanzania, Dar es Salaam. You need the rail, you need the roads to get this stuff to the coast. There's often talk in South Africa about beneficiation, which is that we're going to insist to the world that we manufacture. That is fine, but remember countries like Australia and the UAE, who also have got massive resources, which they export, because that is their comparative advantage. So they've got absolute advantages in those minerals. They've also got comparative advantages. So they don't try and do things that they're not particularly good at. And look at how wealthy and how well the Australians and the UAE live. It's the same point about South Africa and the continent, that we have these resources. We should be smart in putting in place the infrastructure necessary to give the world access to these, and we must improve our terms of trade. In that context, it's important for Africa, in the context of the G20, to think of the opportunity not just as a South African opportunity, but as an African opportunity. And that's the approach of South Africa. The third one is we're going to make sure that we participate in the debates around climate change and the transition, but insist that the transition happens on our terms as well, that we have got the right to use our resources, our minerals, dare I say it, our coal, our gas, to benefit us, just like the world has done for the last couple of 100 years. Next, of course, is to say our cost of debt is unacceptably high. What we pay as Africans is unacceptably high, to go back to the point around Zambia. And so we need to put in place, or we need to argue for mechanisms that contribute to the diminution of that additional premium that we pay. And the issues there range from what we as Africans do ourselves, our transparency, our budget transparency, the reduction of the unofficial sector, increasing the tax base, being more transparent with our budgets, etc. And on the other side, making sure that people are reducing the Africa perception risk premium, and that we're not paying over the odds on the basis of unacceptable assumptions about the African continent. And we'll be making a strong case for that as South Africa.
So that leads a question to like ratings agencies and the like as well, just how the cost of debt. So Funeka, so you're coming to this year, PPP. I know there's results coming out in a month or so.
We want more from
close period.
We want. But your vision, I suppose PPP being a central element of Standard Bank, just your take on, we've got the setting of what it's like this year. What's your view long term, I suppose, just like on PPP, and where do you say in this one?
We just want more.
So he wants more. And the reason why he wants more is because there are two really good mega trends that affect our business. The first one is, of course, the fact that our continent is young, the population dividend that we have. And secondly, is the fact that we are going to see and continue to see unprecedented growth of wealth, of personal wealth across the continent, which is something quite special. Particularly if you think about the history of this continent, the fact that you are going to see a generation that creates wealth, grows wealth, and pass it to the next generation is something quite special in the history of this continent, and we definitely want to be part of that. And therefore, because we are in 14 countries across the continent, and we are in most high-growing countries, particularly on the East, we definitely feel ourselves being in that position where we can give Africans confidence that they really can create wealth, and we can be there to power that. As a result, we see ourselves as definitely having the ability to run the largest private bank on the continent.
And last year, the whole story was elections, and we passed that test, right, as a continent. And within your operations, you didn't see anything affect last year was all about, let's say, elections.
We've had elections, and we've had some elections which were difficult that would have affected some of our operations, if you think about Mozambique. But these things pass, right? I mean, that's Sim's point. You have to know that, for all great journeys, you will have high highs and low lows, and none of them are linear. And you have to take a step back and see that actually this continent is in fact growing.
So there's always something that's been said about Standard Bank, that a critique, maybe you're seeing it differently now, that the Africa story of Standard Bank is kind of undervalued or not seen by the investment community as it is. Is that shifting? Are people seeing just the expanse of this bank?
Oh, absolutely. And again, just to pick up on a theme that Funeka has raised, which is the jewel in the crown in the Standard Bank Group is PPB, in that it is going to be a big driver of the re-rating that is currently happening in Standard Bank. So that the answer to your question, people are seeing more and more value, and a large proportion of that comes out of the successes that are coming out of PPB. Unfortunately, we're in closed period, and Funeka insists that I not mention some of the victories, but because I can defy her, I will. So what are some of the victories? Number one, we're already a digital bank. Just think, and again, I won't quote the numbers then, but the extent to which we are doing electronic and digital transactions in this organization is unprecedented. It's absolutely amazing, and we're therefore on the front foot. We are continuing to make gains and winning in the direction of being the number one private bank on the continent. The alliance between IIM and PPB is going to deliver. It's already delivering, and it's going to continue to deliver. We are champions at mass market banking, in middle market banking here in South Africa, and there's no reason why we cannot be extending that to other jurisdictions where the demographics are appropriate and where we've got the infrastructure. We've got the people to be able to deliver that. We're wanting to deliver products seamlessly, securely, on the basis of the trust that our people have in Standard Bank. And just think of what has happened in the last year. There have been no P1 incidents, there have been no massive outages, and where outages have happened, they've been fixed quickly, which is just an amazing outcome. And that is why we are increasing our numbers, the number of customers that are doing more with us. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing Funeka tell people about these numbers.
Yeah. The only other thing I can add, which I think is one of our absolute superpower, is the fact that we are part of a stable that has a very large trust of corporates as well as small and medium businesses. And therefore, that gives us an opportunity, of course, to be able to do more business with the individuals who are running and owning those businesses as well. And that is starting to take huge momentum. We have quite a large entity that we've been working on for example, that we now bank about sort of 70% of their clients, and those clients are private banking clients. But that requires the relationship between Standard Bank and that entity to be delivered holistically, not just from a corporate bank and a business bank, but also from an individual bank. So long-term work, according to that, is that for us, we think it's another big piece of work. And lastly, Bill Blackie talks a lot about this, the trust element, the trust that our clients have. And that really comes from doing things right year after year. Our clients remember what positions we took during the global financial crisis. Our clients remember the positions that we took during COVID. Bill talks a lot about the fact that when many of our competitors had switched off lending to small and medium businesses,